The number 16's been skipped. It's the Pro Max now instead of the Pro Plus. And the dimensions are almost identical to a certain popular flagship, to the point where the cases are swappable, kinda. Now in today's video, we're gonna look past all those surface level comparisons and see what the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max actually has to offer. If this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and let's get started. Here's the box the 17 Pro Max comes in. Inside we've got the phone itself, a SIM tool, a 100-watt charger, and a USB Type-A to Type-C cable with orange accents. And let's actually start here, with the battery and charging, because that's one of the more interesting aspects of this phone. Now though Xiaomi's 17 Pro Max weighs less than Apple's, it's got a 50% higher capacity battery at 7500 mAh. Yep, that's a whole lot of mAh. I can't wait to spend more time with this phone to see how long it actually lasts. I love silicon carbon tech. Now with the included 100-watt charger, you can charge this monster of a 7500 mAh battery very quickly to 100% in just a little over half an hour. And here's the kicker, it also supports 100-watt PPS, meaning it can hit similar numbers even with a bunch of third-party chargers. And there's 22.5-watt reverse wired charging. 7500 mAh is good enough to play power bank in a pinch, right? Now if that's not blown you away yet, Xiaomi's also thrown in wireless charging at 100 watts with a 0 to 100 of just 40 minutes. Battery and charging, I think Xiaomi's really nailed it this time, and I love how they've managed to do that while still keeping the phone quite wieldy. Because not only is Xiaomi 17 Pro Max lighter than Apple's, it's also ever so slightly shorter, narrower, and slimmer, and all while sporting a similar 6.9-inch screen. Actually, this phone has two, since the back, this camera array, it's got an almost 3-inch screen, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now Xiaomi is not really compromised anywhere with this build. You still get an IP68 rating, there is support for NFC and IR blaster, excellent stereo speakers, they've done well. Now coming to that display, it's excellent. It's AMOLED 1200p 120Hz LTPO, meaning it can dip to 1 Hz if needed, goes up to 3500 nits for HDR, can also drop all the way down to 1 nit for always on, and it is covered by Dragon Crystal glass. Now here's something super cool. The rear panel, it's very similar. Of course it's smaller, 2.83 inches, so it's got a different resolution, but this one's also 120Hz LTPO, so it can also dip to 1 Hz if needed, and it also goes up to 3500 nits for HDR, and once again, this can also drop to 1 nit for always on and happens to be covered by Dragon Crystal glass. Now I found it super cool that both these screens come with screen protectors pre-applied, so sweet stuff. Now guys, Xiaomi's been doing mixed flips for a couple of years now, and it feels like they've leveraged what they've learned from that phone for the second screen here. Like, you can personalize this a whole lot of ways. There are different clock phases to choose from, you can set your own text, the interactive pets return, and as always, they're fun to interact with. At worst, it's a nice novelty, and of course it is 2025, so you get to use AI to generate video clips to use on the screen. I really liked it. Now from a utility perspective, the screen lets you know about notifications or calls. There's a cute little timer animation with water levels dropping down as the clock counts down. Looks pretty cool. You can also control music from here, and my favorite, at any point you can select anything you want on the phone and pin it to the screen as a to-do reminder. I like what Arun from Mr. Who's the Boss said about this. He said something like, it's the 2025 version of jotting things down on your wrist. That feels very apt. I also like how Xiaomi sells a controller case that lets you play a few games with the screen. And here's the thing, you can run RetroArch on this display, which technically makes the setup the most powerful retro handheld available today. The case, the games, yes it's novelty, but it's cute nonetheless. Now jokes apart, the biggest use case for the screen, the one I find most intriguing, as will most of you I suppose, is using it as a viewfinder for the rear cameras. Now, I love the iPhone 17 series' new selfie camera, that's Quire sensor, it's great, but of course even that cannot compete with the flagship primary rear camera, right? Selfies, vlogging footage, a second screen that lets you access all the camera features, it's just perfect for all of it. Now how are these rear cameras? Are they great? Well, to be honest, my feelings are a little mixed on this. Now don't get me wrong, they are good cameras, 350 megapixel sensors. The primary here is the Light Fusion 950L, a 1x1.28 inch sensor that's paired with an f1.6 lens. It shoots detailed images with excellent dynamic range. Just look at the sky here. I like the performance, even under low light, very impressive. And video tops out at 8K 30, meaning you get to shoot 8K selfie video. Overkill, right? The telephoto is a 50 megapixel 5x, which is quite good too. And Xiaomi seems to have done something very interesting here. When you shoot, say, 3x, it actually takes information from the 5x telephoto and fuses it with a 3x digital crop from the primary and ends up giving you better results than just a normal 3x digital crop. It's easy to notice when you compare 3x images taken with the telephoto covered and uncovered, so I found that very interesting. Now the ultra-wide, it's present here, almost an afterthought underneath the camera array, and it's now 17 millimeters, meaning 0.7x, which is not that wide for an ultra-wide, and the quality too, it's not that great since this is a slightly downgraded sensor from the last time around, and this is one of the main reasons why I call cameras a bit of a mixed bag. Now moving on, the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is one of the first phones to launch with the new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 SoC. Now this is the chip that's going to be powering most flagships for the next 10 to 12 months. Now the 8 Elite Gen 5, it seems to be a moderate upgrade over the 8 Elite. It's not bad, but it's nothing spectacular either. I feel Xiaomi's implementation here is very promising because at least this time they seem to have gotten throttling under control. I mean, the phone does run hot, it does touch 50 degrees at points, but then again, it is early days, maybe with time it could get better. That said, this phone, it should be able to run pretty much any game just fine. That being said, I don't see this being the primary choice if gaming is high on your list of priorities. And one of the main reasons why is because the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, it starts from 6,000 RMB, which converts to about $850 US, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be seeing more 8 Elite Gen 5 phones launching cheaper. Now, given what this phone is offering, do you feel it's worth this asking price? Personally, I really love the fact that Xiaomi has taken a risk with that second screen. I mean, most brands these days are playing it very safe, and that means tech, smartphone tech at least, has been getting a little stale, a little boring, which is why I really like what Xiaomi's done here. What about you? What do you think about the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max? Love it, hate it, you've got more complicated feelings? Let me know in the comments below, and I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Ash out.